women voters, so important to reach out to them, whether you're Republican or Democrat. You have a deficit among women voters now.
Well, that's what they said last time, too.
Right. Well, let's say for the sake of argument, you have a deficit among female voters who maybe in some cases you're too aggressive, your tone or your tweets. What do you say to them directly about what you'll do in a second term?
Okay. I have to be aggressive because I'm like standing here in a sea of incompetent people, stupid people, and violent people, very violent.
But that's the kind of language, stupid
That's
people.
okay.
That's a lot of women don't like
It's also
that.
well, where are we? Oh, we're in the White House, I see. Okay. So I'm standing here in a sea of people, and we need law and order in this country, and women see that with me. You're never going to have law and order with Biden. Hey, look at Ferguson. Look what happened during that. You know, people forget. Look at all of those horrible race riots you had during Obama. Ferguson's just one that comes to mind, but you had them all the time. Look at all of what happened with Brown and this one and that one. Look at all of the problems you had under Obama. It was a disaster. It was actually worse than anything. This is a much different situation. Again, the anarchists of Portland are different than what's going on in Chicago. Chicago can be solved. I think it's actually a little bit more difficult to solve. I think the anarchists in many ways are much more solvable. But for women, more than anything else, they want security, they want safety. They have to have safety. They talk about the suburban woman. What I did recently, I ended the regulation that provided low-income housing that mandated low-income housing.
That was Obama's rule.
That was the Obama rule. It was a disaster.
Do you think the suburbs are in danger if Biden is elected?
Yeah,
we already know the cities are in danger, but
so
are the suburbs in danger? Because they say that's fear-mongering on the part of
I know the
Republicans.
suburbs. Look, Westchester was ground zero, okay, for what they were trying to do. They were trying to destroy the suburban, beautiful place, the American dream, really. They want low-income housing, and with that comes a lot of other problems, including crime. May not be nice to say,
You're not saying all
but
poor
I'll
people
say
are
it.
criminals, though.
No, I'm not saying that at all, but it does, there is a level of violence that you don't see. So you have this beautiful community in the suburbs, including women, right? Women, they want security. I ended where they build low-income housing project right in the middle of your neighborhood. I ended it. If Biden gets in, he already said it's going to go at a much higher rate than ever before. And you know who's going to be in charge of it? Cory Booker. That's going to be nice, okay? So I think that women are going to want, well, for a lot of other reasons, the stock markets will crash. As sure as you're sitting there, your 401ks will go down to a small percentage of what they are.
Biden says he's not going to raise taxes on anyone making under $400,000 a year.
He's going to do $4 trillion in tax increases. He's going to do things that are going to cost so much on the Green New Deal, which is done by a child, okay? That's the mind of a child, because the Green New Deal is ridiculous. It doesn't work. They're going to do things under the Green. You know, the Green New Deal, if you actually did it, is $100 trillion. That's more money than this country could make in 1,000 years.
It's going to be good-paying jobs. All the great-paying jobs that Obama apparently didn't create.
Let's rip down a building and build a new one with no windows, okay?
The African-American community, you've made more strides in outreach to African-American voters than I think of any Republican president in my lifetime. What can you tell the African-American community tonight about your commitment to doing more in the second term, and what will that include?
So I've done criminal justice reform. I saved the historically black colleges and universities. What they went through is for years, including
With
Obama.
funding.
Prison reform, criminal justice reform.
Next term.
Opportunity zone, more of the same. And in fact, I actually said in the speech, the best is yet to come. And I've been treated very well, at least in the polls. I hope, I hope that translates, because unfortunately, the African-American, the black community has been so used to going and oppressing a Democrat lever. And what have they got out of it? They've got nothing. Obama didn't give them criminal justice reform. I did. Obama didn't give them opportunity zones. I did. Obama didn't do all of the things, didn't save. Obama could have saved the historically black colleges and universities. He didn't do anything for them. He didn't do anything for them. I've done more, and I said in the speech, some people said you shouldn't say it, it's too aggressive. I said, what's aggressive? I've done more than any president in the history of our country, except for maybe and I say maybe, maybe Abraham Lincoln. The reason I say maybe is I'll explain that to you later, okay?
All right. I want to talk
But
about.
wait a minute. I've done more for the black community than any president in the United States, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln. And it's true. Criminal justice reform was such a big deal. And look what Biden did in 1994. What he did to people, to black people.
He called the criminals predators.
Well, he called them predators. Super predators,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
He called them super
So
predators.
when you see the unrest on the streets, and so much of it is driven by an antipathy toward law enforcement,
Yeah.
and more African Americans are stopped by the police, the statistics that are cited over and over again, what can you say to those families who live on those streets and who are worried? They're worried because they think their sons or even their
Yeah.
daughters could be targeted. Because I've known you for a long time, you don't want that. You want people to all be treated equally, but they have a caricature of Republican voters, and you're the leader of the party. What do you say to them about that mischaracterization?
What the black community wants in this country is they want police and they want law and order. They don't want what's happening to their communities. They're being affected in a much harsher, meaner manner than anybody else. That includes Hispanics, where I'm doing very well also. Look, they want law and order. They want the police. You know, they do polls, and the polls are at 82, 83%. They want the police. They've gotten along with the police, and the police have been very badly mistreated because you have one bad apple, and it becomes a story for weeks.
St. Louis African-American police officer shot in the head and
yeah,
killed
Dorn.
last night. He's another
yes.
African-American
That's true.
just killed
Yeah.
yesterday.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Killed.
It's more dangerous to be a police officer today, do you not think, than it has been in
The
a
police
long time?
are under siege because of things. They can do 10,000 great acts, which is what they do, and one bad apple or a choker. You know, a choker. They choke. Shooting the guy,
they
shooting the
panic.
guy in the back many times. I mean, couldn't you have done something different? Couldn't you have wrestled? You know, I mean, in the meantime, he might have been going for a weapon, and, you know, there's a whole big thing there. But they choke. Just like in a golf tournament, they miss a 3-foot
You're
putt.
not comparing it to golf because, of course, that's what the media
I'm
will say.
saying
Yeah.
people choke.
People panic.
choke.
Yeah.
And people are bad people. You have both. You have some bad people, and they choke. You could be a police officer for 15 years, and all of a sudden you're confronted. You've got a quarter of a second to make a decision. If you don't make the decision and you're wrong, you're dead. People choke under those circumstances, and they make a bad decision. I've seen bad decisions of people that it looked bad, but probably it was a choke. But you also have bad police, but you also, not only the vast majority, thousands and thousands of great acts and one bad one, and you make the evening news for weeks.
I know you reached out to Jacob Blake's mom, and she said on camera she was sorry she missed the call. She respects the office of the presidency, and I think she would like to talk to you. Have you tried to talk to her again, and would you talk to her again?
The call is being made, as I understand it, yes.
Fantastic.